can see the way they hate. And I know better than to listen to the people who are calling us names. I can feel the sun.
Good morning, everyone. It's Friday, October 18th, 2024, and welcome to episode 788 of the Lots Project Morning Show, where the coffee's strong, the opinions are stronger, and it's always filter-free. I'm Brian, your host, and today I'm enjoying a Clyde blend from foodforestfarms.com, where you can get 10% off with discount code LOTS10, and the shipping is always free. While you're there, check out C4 Club. C4 Club is a great benefit. I've been a member for quite some time. I know quite a few people that are members, but there are limited spots left at 100 members. It closes and will only be available if someone leaves, or the Food Forest Farms coffee will only be available through a C4 Club member. And a special day today for the C4 Club family. Happy anniversary to Mr. Norton and his beautiful bride, Chicken Joe. I hope you have a fantastic day. And man, how have you made it 10 years? Chicken Joe, how have you made it 10 years? Anyway, happy anniversary to you folks. Today, we're going to be chatting about me slowly learning a new skill, the weekend to-do outlook, and we'll probably hit a little bit of conspiracy theory. I got a little different twist at it today. I found some interesting stuff. I want a different direction with it. Anyway, let's head on over into the live chat, hang out with the coffee crew, see what's going on, and we will get going in a bit. Vertical feed. We got Courtney over there says, hello. Hunter said we can't be friends because I take you away from him. Oh my God, your man is jealous of your podcast friend. Hunter, really? You can't rule over your wife that way with an iron fist. Good morning, Courtney. Thank you for joining. I hope you enjoy the show. Mike's Homestead in the vertical feed. Ask off Kumar Gaming FF. Hello. How are you? Am I gonna need a moderator over on the vertical feed? Coworker number 4. Silly humans. Thanks, coworker number 4, for stopping in. Let's see who's over here. John Palmer. Good morning, good day, and good weekend to you too, Mr. Palmer. Thanks for stopping in. Pimp and Eyes. Last minute list of BS getting worked on for inventory tomorrow. $3 million worth of car parts to check. Dude, They don't even understand how lucky they are to have you in that building, giving all the fucks you do. I don't understand. You must have a unlimited field where you groweth your fucks and you just can't run out, because my God, man. My God. Canadian Farmstead, good morning. And that sucks for Pip. Yeah, I agree. Had a Coho financial aid, Canadian Farm said, off-grid ping. Good morning to you. Thanks for stopping in. Canadian Farmstead excited about conspiracy theories, but don't even know. You don't even know. All right. This dude just bye. Timeout. Oh, I can put people in timeout. I feel like a timeout. Hunter over on Twitch, anniversary. Is it my anniversary? I don't know. Is it your anniversary? Hey, Courtney, is it your anniversary today? Jesus. Canadian Farm said, new skill, learn to tie your shoes. I don't tie my shoes. And I started tying my shoes again and went to zip up boots. I used pull-on work boots, like cowboy style pull-on work boots and cowboy boots for my day-to-day shoes. It must have been for over 5 years I didn't tie my shoes. And when I got running shoes at one point, I was like, shit, I don't know if I remember how to tie them. Hunter says at most is a copper feather. Oh, would that be anniversary gift? Courtney says, I finally joined, and he says, no, that's my friend. And Courtney confirms it's not Hunter and her's birthday anniversary, but she says I made sure it was a day he would remember. Well, that sounds like a fun story. Or do you mean you put it on a day like a holiday or a birthday or something like that? I mean, I will always remember the day I got married. I don't necessarily claim that I'll always remember the date I got married, but I will always remember the day I got married because I got to marry the most wonderful woman in the world. Sorry for all the other guys out there. She's already gone. Coworker number 4 says, so you married him on 420. That is the day he will be sure to forget. Michael Williams, good morning to you. Bare Bones in the house. Just saw Joe Blakesley's TikTok. I mean, the effort's there, but man, that was weak. I understand that you probably can't do your best on TikToks without enough caffeine to make your have enough caffeine in your brain to make a decent TikTok, but man, the idea was there. It was a good start. It was definitely a good start. If you had poked like a hole in the bottom of the cup, and as you were talking, it's just like draining out, and then you took a sip and it was empty. That would have been some good comedy, but you're getting there. You're still young. It's okay. It's okay. Thanks for stopping in, Michael. I appreciate it, and keep that guy in line. Are you guys going to lose 2 employees to the Backwoods Butcher? Is that going to happen? Take the ride. Top of the morning to you too, sir. To you too, sir. Courtney Baker says, New Year's Day. Did you get married on New Year's Day? All right. Did you invite people to your wedding? Courtney Baker says so far it's been 6 years and he's not forgetting. Blakesley Acres confirms they're not going to lose any employees to the Backwoods Butcher. A, because he can't afford to pay them or himself. And B, can you imagine working with that guy on a day-to-day basis? Earl, Jill, Michael, stay where you're at. Have you ever spent more than one day with him? Because I think he stopped there for one day, then they left, and then he came back for one day. Like, he's tolerable for that long. Courtney says not wedding married, just Texas married. Okay, so who in the audience got married on a holiday? Or a holiday weekend, for that matter. Pip says Annie steals shit. Right. Pip is very. We found him his perfect mate. Sundress wearing Bitcoin loving anarchist on X, and unfortunately, she's married already. Courtney says it was the day we decided to date. Corey and I have a day we decided to date also, and it turned out to end up being our wedding day 8 years later. Weird. Hanging Laundry, good morning. How are you? Thanks for stopping in. Blakesley Acres says, I have other plans. I'm just drawing it out and waiting. Do you need a consult, young man? Do you need a consult in the ways of fucked up humor and payback? Off-Grid Ping says he got married the day after All Hallows Eve. Should have known. Halloween isn't that big of a deal. So if this is you, if you're listening and you did this, I no personal offense to you because I probably wasn't invited to your wedding. But you probably didn't understand what you were doing when you picked it. I understand your wedding's supposed to be all about you, and then it's the most important day of your life, and blah blah blah. Most of the people you're inviting to your wedding don't want to spend one of the few days they get away from their fucking shithole job, traveling, occupied at a wedding. I might be an asshole, and I'm like, come on. Let's do it on a normal weekend when we get so few days, holiday weekends, long weekends, shit like that. Don't occupy one with your wedding. Don't take your guests and put them in a position where they lose one of the joyous days of their year to go and get dressed up and sit in the pews and then go and get hammered and feel like shit for the rest of the weekend. Let them do that in the comfort of their own home. Good morning, Cormac. Thanks for stopping in. Hang of Laundry said, who schedules a wedding on a holiday weekend? That's thoughtless. Hey, I'm not the only one. All right. I guess I'm just the only one that's willing to say it to a bride. Whoops. I wasn't invited to the wedding, so I don't think it was that big of a deal. But yeah, if you're engaged, if you're going to get married, Hunter says live stream it. Yeah, rock on. That's great. Fraser Brown, shout out from Scotland, all the way from Scotland. Hey Cormac, we got one of them Scots in the vertical feed. Do you guys are you guys at odds, or you guys get along? Do you guys both hate the English, or how does that work from Scotland and Ireland? Not really in depth, in tune with the geopolitics in that region. Reviler Life says, I'll be the jerk, waste of money, spend it starting your life. We had a fantastic wedding, and I couldn't have been happier. We actually wanted to do a lot less, but Corey's parents were kind enough to say, no, we're going to throw money at it, and we're going to insist that you do at least the bare minimum. But man, we had a party in the backfield behind our house, and it was fantastic. Fraser Brown says, love the Irish, hate the English. Cormac says, half of them are all right. It's split 50-50. Fraser, Cormac, thanks for spending time watching my show in two different feeds and coexisting in this world. You're making the world a better place by not hating each other because of where you live. Courtney says, we'd rather take the money to buy a house and land. For sure. Guys, if you haven't hit the thumbs up, if you do that real quick, and if you're not a subscriber to the channel, I really think you should. Got a lot of awesome videos coming out recently. Mushroom plugs, making mushroom logs, building a Berkey filter, blah, 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 blah. Osama bin Laden, I knew you were alive. Osama bin Laden says, hi, do you know me? I know of you. I'm so excited you're here. Osama, did you actually plan 9/11? Did you actually bring down the Twin Towers, or was that sneaky Bush guy? I have so many questions for you. How were the accommodations in your cave? Were they plush and luxurious outside the camera view? Did you just go into the cave to record your videos? God, I have so many questions. Coworker number 4, question for Osama. Did the CIA tell you to do it? Rewiler Life says it's always the parents, and they could gift the money towards starting a life. We did it. I mean, I get that. I understand. why they put the money into it, and they also were very kind in a gift to us beyond that. Corey has a very large family locally, and it was a chance for us to get together, and it was a party. It was fantastic. We did what we could on a low budget and kept it low, and didn't spend a bunch of their money and didn't go hog wild. And Corey wasn't a bridezilla by any means. It was great. It was great. But if we had done it, it would have been even a lot less. Osama says, I'm coming to you. I'm not going to tell you anything. Let's be friends. If we're going to be friends, you need to spill the dirt. You need to tell me, how many wives did you have? And is that as good or as bad as it sounds? Hagen Laundry says, we leave my second child, planning to elope, but had a casual engagement party. Less stress for me. Yeah, that sounds right. John Palmer says it's a celebration for the parents. It is. I mean, it is. It is. Except when they pump the bride full of, you're the most important person on the face of the earth. To one person, she is. Maybe a couple. Take the ride, says Bro Sama bin Laden. 56 wives. I can be wife 57. Do you prefer women, men, or goat? SK come in with Ralph Nader was bin Laden's handler. Ralph Nader was? That's an interesting thought. I know he had plenty of contacts in the CIA and the FBI and was on the payroll for quite a long time. I didn't know that Ralph Nader was his handler. Osama bin Laden's gay? Osama bin Laden just came out on the Lots Project podcast. I don't think I've ever heard a report that Osama bin Laden was gay. And right here on the vertical feed of the Lots Project podcast, Osama bin Laden says, I am gay. Congratulations. I don't think that goes real well in your culture. I'm fully supportive of you to love whoever or whatever you want, but you better watch your back, man. You better watch your back. Jesus Christ. All right. Anyway, new skill. We're rolling into a new skill. Hit that real quick and the weekend to do Outlook, and then we'll talk a little bit conspiracy. So a few weeks ago, friend of mine, Canadian Farmstead says, why do you think they faked his death? So he could live free in himself. A couple of weeks ago, I was gifted a push mower by my friends Norman and Herschel. They were getting rid of it. They were going to take it to the dump. I salvaged it, or they asked if I wanted it because I was put out a message for looking for a push mower for Delinquent Scully. They said, it's free, but it's not running quite yet. It's not quite running. Pretty sure it just needs a once over, go through it and clean things up, change some rotted hoses. It's been sitting, so knock it out and you get it running. It's all yours. Canadian Farmstead said he and Saddam have run off together. Jesus. Allah. I guess when we're talking about Osama and Saddam, we can't say Jesus. We have to say Allah. Anyway, I had messed around with small engines before. I am far from a small engine guy. I wouldn't even consider myself a small engine boy. But I've messed around with them. I've run my fair share of lawnmowers, weed eaters, snow blowers, and on and on and on. always have the one that doesn't want to start, and you figure it out. I've never really taken a lawnmower or anything like that isn't running and got it running, other than something that was my machine that was one of, I would say, like, if it was running and then it wouldn't start or it killed or this, that, or the other thing, I could get it running again. But I've never taken like a roadside dump or a donation from someone that's not running and got it running again. So it was a little bit of a challenge. I figured I could figure it out with the interwebs and YouTube University and all the people in our communities. I figured I could get that figured out real quick. About the time that we got the lawnmower, our Starlink went down, so I wasn't able to dig in too much with the interwebs. But I was savvy enough to dig in and take the carburetor off and take a look at it. And I wasn't really sure, because I didn't have any videos or diagrams or anything. I wasn't really sure how exactly it worked, how it needed to be cleaned out. Hey, Jim, thanks for the zap over on Noster. Appreciate that. John Palmer corrects and says, you can still say Jesus. He is still a prophet in their book. Oh, okay. Hey, Russell Robinson, how we doing? Asked, what's the LOTS Project all about? It stands actually for living outside the system, but this morning show is just a bunch of folks get together, drink some coffee, have a good day, have a good time to start their day. We laugh, we cry, we joke, and we have fun talking about all sorts of fucked up shit and whatever comes up. Today, we're talking about me learning how to work on lawnmowers, and then we're going to talk about some conspiracy stuff and what I got going on this weekend. So I appreciate you stopping, Russell, and hit that thumbs up and the subscribe if you would want to stick around and check out more videos. So I pulled apart the carb. I looked at it. The gasket on the carb between the airbox and the carb was kind of messed up, and the fuel line was kind of dry rotted. The vacuum hose between the airbox and the engine was kind of dry rotted. So I was like, all right. At one point I went over, I had internet, and I looked up the kit for this particular mower. It came with a whole new carb. It came with an airbox, air filter, spark plug, vac line, everything. I was like, all right, sweet. I picked up some fuel line at Tractor Supply, and the stuff came in. I put it together. No luck. We get internet back, and I find that these engines are notorious for needing multiple gaskets between the airbox and the carb. Just went with it. I found the old gasket. I found a second gasket that came with it, and I put them all in there, and it feels like it seals. It feels like it primes, kind of. And then I haven't really had a lot of time to work on it with work days at Delinquent Scully and SRF and this and that. Well, yesterday I got a chance to kind of peek at it again. And I wanted to really start ruling things out. I've just been throwing whatever at it. I mean, all of $25 or something like that. I got into it, but I wanted to really start ruling some things out. So I was looking into how to test the spark plug and the spark plug terminal, this, that, and the other thing. And, the easiest way to find out if it's got compression and the spark's good and everything is some starting fluid. So I ran some starting fluid into the carb, and it ripped off, and it started, ran for, 3 seconds and died. Well, if you know anything about small engines, that verified I had spark, that verified I had compression, that had verified I had the timing right. And basically it came down to it wasn't getting fuel. So I went to the source. I went to the fuel tank. I popped the fuel line off the nipple of the fuel tank, and nothing came out. And I was like, oh, that's really weird. It must be clogged. Must have sat around, whatever, some fuel, some dirty in the fuel, maybe a fuel filter inside the tank, because there isn't one in line that I can see. And so I went to take the cap off. Hunter says ain't got no gas. Ain't no gas in it. I open the start to unscrew the gas cap, and gas starts pouring out of the tank nipple. So I screw it back down and it stops coming out. And I was like, well, this is weird. That's not that. I don't think that's right. I jumped on Telegram. I sent Chris Dixon a message. What up, Mo Lester? How we doing? Love your name. Is your real first name Chester Mo Lester? So I sent Chris Dixon a message. I was like, hey man, are most of these Briggs and Stratton small engines gravity feed out of the fuel tank, or is it do they have like some sort of return pressure from the engine that pressurizes that tank and pushes the fuel out? And he's like, yeah, they're almost always gravity feed. So I could literally take the cap and unscrew it. The gas would come out, screw it down, and it was like causing a vacuum lock of some sort. It turned out that the cap's probably bad. I loosened the cap and tried to run it. It didn't work. So I think I'm looking and I'm battling multiple issues with this lawnmower. And, you know, as a technician that troubleshot a lot of shit, a lot of stuff is really easy to fix until you're dealing with multiple problems at the same time. And the fact that I don't know a whole lot about it really sends me spinning. So to be continued, lawnmower isn't working. Next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to drop that brand new carb off. Oh, man. How'd you get so lucky? Mo Lester says my name is actually Mo Lester Mayes. So next thing I'm gonna do, I'm gonna drop the carb again off it and see if somehow something got into the main jet. So I need to. And I also cracked the nut on the bottom. I cracked the nut. I busted the nut on the bottom of the carb bowl, and fuel started coming out when I had the gas cap loose. So I have fuel flow to the carburetor bowl. I don't know. I gotta go further into it. So slowly learning how to work on small engines. More. I think this is a skill that will benefit me greatly in the future. I just wish I had more knowledge of it at this point so I could get that lawnmower running so I could mow the fucking area I want to build the I want to get this fucking fixed so I can mow our site so I can build a cabin. Pip says I went to high school with a girl named, I hope that you mistyped that and it's supposed to be Brooklyn Bridge. John Palmer says, from what I understand, about half of those aftermarket carbs are junk. So I have the original carb. Should I try to pop that back on there and see what happens? Interesting. That's an interesting thought. I didn't think about bad out of the box part. That is also the demise of every technician out there is bad out of the box parts. When you get a brand new part in and you put it in, you've troubleshot it, you've done your due diligence, you know exactly what's wrong with you know what's wrong. You know exactly what's wrong, and you order the part, and you put the part in, and it doesn't fix it, and you're like, you lose your mind. You actually, I believe when that happens, every bit of rational thought that's in your brain goes out the window, and you just start fucking trying to fix anything that moves. And then when you circle back, and the only thing that could be wrong again is the part you put in, you realize that it was probably bad out of the box. I don't know how many hours and hours and hours I wasted as a technician installing bad out of the box parts that were, my stress level will go through the roof. Hanger Laundry said, I knew a guy at school named Owens. And Mo Lester says Dixon Myers. I think he wants me to say Dixon my ass. You should have just left it with Mo Lester. Sometimes there's too much of a good thing, Mo. So that's the skill I'm learning. I'm learning it very slowly. It's coming along. I'll get that fucker running. The fact that it has spark, it has compression, and it'll fire off with the starting fluid. I have all the confidence in the world. At some point, it might cost me more than a brand new mower, but I will get that fucker running. I will get it running for sure. Because the mower isn't ready, I'm going to be doing some different stuff this weekend than I had planned. Probably get the gutters and hopefully the whole plumbing system up for the shed out at the property. I took them up there yesterday, and I need Corey's help to hold one end. They're just too long. I can't hold it and put the strapping on and do it all by myself. So I'm going to need a hand, or I'm going to need to throw together some sort of jig to hold it up there. So we'll get that done, and then also hopefully get to dropping some trees, get the rest of the trees dropped for our section where we want to build our cabin. Mo is doubling down on the funny over here in the vertical chat. He says Mike Oxlong and Ben Dover were my good friends in high school. Did you also know Harry Canyon and Mike Hunt? Corey's over there giggling, going, I actually went to school with a Mike Hunt. Canadian Farmstead says, I need Corey or a jig. Right? I mean, Corey is way more or easy on the eyes to look at than any jig that I would put together. And she's easy to talk to, and I enjoy hanging out with her. So I'll probably pick Corey. But if she's not willing, I'm definitely more than capable of cutting a tree branch and like wedging it under there temporarily. Hanging Laundry says something wrong with Mo. I think he might be borderline special needs. We try not to pick on the special needs around here. Well, there's a lot of us. Fish penetrator. Shout out to Barry McCockiner. Should we just do Friday vertical feed dumpster fires? Good morning, Chris Dixon. I was just talking about you. Chris Dixon says I went to school with a Mike Hunt and a Harold Sack. Good morning to you. Jimmy Shenkuski's hoping for a good bowel movement this morning. That's good. Alexa Misleading wants to know this Misleading is so in tune with what this show's about, thinks that I have Alexa in this fucking camper. There's so many reasons why I don't have Alexa in this fucking camera. Fish penetrator, it doesn't work. The gag doesn't work when you have to put my in front of it. Go back to, yeah, no. Pip says, so about these conspiracy theories. Yeah, to it. I was dipping through TikTok. I was looking at conspiracy theories. It was the same old beaten down ones that we've talked about. You know, there's a lot of Fridays in the year, and it's a lot of different stuff we've covered. So I was curious. Is there a list somewhere of conspiracies that have been proven true? Are there the things out there that people were called wackadoodles, that people were called conspiracy theorists, that people were like, there's no way that's true, that ended up being true? So I used the power of AI. I went to ChatGPT and I said, are there any conspiracy theories? Are there any conspiracy theories that have actually been proven true? And I got a list, guys. I got a list. So if you're feeling a little crazy because you're thinking that the jabs didn't work, that they're thinking that they're dropping dry ice into the hurricanes, that they're ignoring North Carolina, Take Their Eyes has ever looked at MH370. Is that the Malaysian airline flight that went disappeared? Hunter says, I wonder if there's an Alex Jones was right list. I'm curious if there's an Alex Jones was right versus an Alex Jones was wrong list. Because even the blind pig hits the trough every once in a while. Fish Penetrator says, asking AI is crazy. Jimmy thinks his wife gave him herpes. What a shit show. So I got a list, man. Pip says, isn't that what Lost was based on? Was it? Maybe. But Take the Ride, I don't think MH370. Oh, okay. Yeah, that is Malaysian Airlines Flight 370. That is a weird one. I was kind of fascinated with that when it happened. I think some chick in Australia said she found it in one of the deepest caverns in the Indian Ocean or some shit. I don't know. Canadian Farmstead's wondering if this is the viewers you get when you press the fish doorbell once too many times. Anybody else still watching the fish doorbell? I bring it up. It's actually a save tab on my phone. So when I open the browser on my phone, the fish doorbell is right there for my pleasure viewing. So let's get to this list. This is a random order that'll ChatGPT shot out for me. Let's start with the fun one. The boys over in the vertical feed are gonna love this one. Seeing they're talking about herpes and all sorts of shit. The Tuskegee syphilis study. You guys know what that? Hanging Laundry asked what the fish doorbell is. Oh man. The fish doorbell. Anybody want to drop the link for the fish doorbell in the Telegram chat? I could get it off my phone, but it would take a minute. Drop that in there, and then I'll share it over here in the comments. I don't think you'll be able to share a direct link in the comments on YouTube, but the Tuskegee syphilis study. You guys know about the Tuskegee experiment? Ever heard of it? The original theory, the U.S. government was conducting secret experiments on African American men by withholding treatment for syphilis. Not only withholding treatment for syphilis, but giving them syphilis. These guys, one of the symptoms of syphilis, if I understand right, is not mental clarity. You go fucking crazy at one point, if it gets into your brain. And I think there was an episode of House about a guy that had syphilis dormant in his system for like 40 years, and all of a sudden it made him crazy. But the reality was these folks thought that they were experimenting on them. And they told people, and the government just denied it. I denied it. Jimmy says, I bet there's a cure for herpes and they're withholding it. It's big lip balm, man. Big Carmex is the government, is the pressure on the government to withhold the herpes simplex cure. The reality of the situation, this was proven true from 1932 to 1972, 40 fucking years. The U.S. Public Health Service conducted the Tuskegee syphilis study on hundreds of African American men in Alabama. They were not informed of their disease and they were denied treatment, even after penicillin became widely available in the 40s. The study was exposed in 1972, causing public outrage and leading to reforms in medical ethics and informed consent. John Palmer says permanent brain damage. Take the ride. Government giving black eye syphilis. Yep, that's it. Coworker number 4 brings up a great point. Let me see. I think this might have been on here. Oh, there's something related to it. Sorry. Coworker number 4 says, how's Magic Johnson doing lately? Magic Johnson didn't have syphilis or herpes. He has AIDS. And AIDS, when Magic Johnson got AIDS, it was at the height of Dr. Fauci's experiment. When Magic Johnson got AIDS, it was like a death sentence. Here he is, like 30 years later, doing fine, doing great. So either Magic Johnson is the luckiest man on the face of the earth. He had more money than anyone else and was able to survive this death sentence, or actually they knew how to cure it the whole time. I'm not sure. Mike's Homestead's wondering how you get syphilis in your brain from oral. Maybe. Jimmy says Magic Johnson has no trace of AIDS in his body. Canadian Farmstead says, but trust the government today. They wouldn't do anything bad now. That was just the bad old government. Correct. John Palmer says, I thought it was HIV. I don't know. I don't know the progression of HIV and AIDS. It just, I don't know. Pip says Magic Johnson went keto carnivore to get rid of his AIDS. Hagen Laundry said all the LSD studies. Well, speak of that, number 2 on this list was the MK Ultra experiments. If you're in this audience, if you've been here for any length of time, you probably know about MK Ultra. John Palmer says HIV causes AIDS sometimes. Okay. I have neither. And I maybe have a minute opportunity to contract either. I don't know. I never I didn't study that much in school. MK Ultra, though. MK Ultra is something I did look into. The original theory, the CIA was conducting mind control experiments using drugs like LSD on unsuspecting American citizens. The reality... Canadian Farm said, do you use public toilets? Do you remember all the needles in where were they putting the infected needles in like seats at the movie theater? Were those all rumors? they were putting infected needles in like the change return on pay phones and vending machines. There's putting needles in the seats cushions at movie theaters, stuff like that. Do you remember any of that? I remember it being like a big scare. AIDS needles in. Don't check the change drawer. Don't check the change slot on the payphone. You might get stuck with an AIDS needle. Needles and gas pump handles. Yeah, that was the COVID one. They warned us about that when we when COVID was starting to roll out. They thought that it was the Chinese were still dropping over in the streets. We got a bulletin from our one of our manufacturers that said to be on the lookout for needles stuck in the gas pump handles. Canadian Pharmacist says, I remember needles in the payphone change returns. Hang Laundry says it was a rumor, but wouldn't put it past someone to try it. Like the fucking government. So MK Ultra turns out to be true. MK Ultra was a secret CIA program that ran from the 1950s through today. I mean, the 1970s, designed to explore mind control, often using unsuspecting people as test subjects. It involved experiments with LSD, hypnosis, and other techniques to see if they could manipulate or control individuals. The program was officially halted. And in 1975, congressional investigation revealed its scope, although many records had been destroyed. I'm pretty sure that there were famous members of the old MK Ultra experiment. Ted Kaczynski, if you know who he is. The dude, I think it was. Oh, now it's escaping me. Wow, take the ride. That is a big word. I don't know if I can say that. Poliocyphia herpelades. Thanks, Obama. Hmm. Off-Grid Pink says, I remember stories of don't go to New Orleans during Mardi Gras. People walk around and just poke you with needles and infect you with things. Oh, yeah. Canadian Farm says Manson was a part of MK Ultra. Pip says wasn't Ted Kaczynski. Ted Kaczynski was an MK Ultra guy for sure. Mike's Homestead says Timothy McVeigh. Is Timothy McVeigh old enough to be an MK Ultra participant? Or, I mean, they halted the program in the 1970s. So, Canadian Farm says razor blades and Halloween candy. It's a wonder we all survived. John Palmer says youngins probably don't know what payphones are. There's a payphone in the yard of a house in this area, just randomly. It's not up by the house. It's not by the road. It's just like randomly in the middle of their yard. And I was like, did the road used to go there or a sidewalk or something? So MK Ultra, that sounded like an interesting thing to be a part of. If you want my opinion. Take the Ride says DOS Net was a good documentary on Uncle Ted. Uncle Ted has had some very interesting documentaries made about him. And if you ever have a chance and you want to go down the rabbit hole of what the borderline between genius and insanity is, read some of Uncle Ted's manifesto. It is some deep reading, let me tell you, but fascinating. He wasn't wrong about a lot of things. Let's just say that. Hanging Laundry said, "Look at all the shooter kids. Yeah, they went from using LSD and psychoactive. Well, I guess they are still the antidepressants. The antidepressants. The antidepressants are a huge factor in the pew pew kids in the school depopulation experiments. They all turn out to be on some sort of fucking drugs, not illegal drugs, the ones that they're shelling out from their shrink. John Palmer said the fine line between genius and insanity. There is. And Pip, are you alluding to something? Pip says a dude living in the woods in a cabin. I don't know how to. I've never experimented with explosives. Hunter says, I thought you were going to say that they shifted from using LSD to going TikTok. Pip says, it's just the facts, man. Just the facts. Canadian Farmstead says he's one Corey away from a manifesto. Right? Chris Dixon brings up a good point. Can you imagine if Uncle Ted had open internet? Can you imagine Uncle Ted on the dark web? Can you imagine Uncle Ted on Nostr? That brings up a good point. Who's got some free time? Jamie says, yeah, what's that supposed to mean, Pip? He is one Corey short. He might be working on his manifesto. Has anybody got any extra time on their hands looking for something to do? Usually most of the people in this audience are just lazy pieces of shit that don't do much of all except hang or sit around and do nothing. Hanging Laundry said, my son's wisdom teeth my son had his wisdom teeth out about 9 or 10 years ago and was given the entire bottle of opioids, 30 of them crazy. That's cute. I had knee surgery. Man, it was before I met Corey, so it would have been like 16 years ago. Had knee surgery, ACL replacement. It wasn't even like a knee replacement or anything. Shouldn't have been bad, anything. But Chris says, bend thy knee to King Trump. Jesus Christ. So when I got done, so I had a really good surgeon. Phenomenal. He was, I don't know how I got hooked up with him, but he was like a surgeon to some of the Vikings players and shit. But he was all about pain management. He told me this up front. And so he gave me my prescription after the surgery. I picked it up and I took it. I didn't even indulge. Now, I will admit at different points in my life, I may have overindulged in some painkillers that doctors prescribed, or maybe I found somewhere on the side of the street, or someone gave them to me in exchange for barter. But that was long in the past. These I actually took responsibly at the rate that the prescription said. I went in for my next appointment, and my prescription needed to be filled again. And I went to the pharmacy and I turned the prescription in, and the guy came back out and he says, sir, we are required, because of the amount of opioids that you've taken in the last week, we're required to ask you if you need to attend counseling for painkiller addiction. And I'm like, I'm just taking them like the dude prescribed them. I'm just taking them like it says. I am not abusing these. turns out that it was quite a high dose of 2 different opioids that he was feeding me. And he also forgot to prescribe me my stool softener, which once he did, that's a story for a different day and a different show. So MK Ultra, obviously, John Palmer says, "What is this free time you speak of?" I'm thinking somebody could republish Uncle Ted's manifesto in a note by note post on Nostr. I follow a guy that what is the guy's name on Weeds? Shit, I forgot his name. Doug. The guy Doug on Weeds. The guy Doug on Weeds, the accountant. Somebody is a parody account of him on Nostr, and it's absolutely fantastic. Mike Homestead says there might have been painkillers in a bowl at a house next to the bar. Old Homo Dan's house. Yep. Hey, Chris, have an awesome day and have a great weekend. Appreciate you stopping by. I'll probably be messaging you more as I work on my lawnmower. You seem to be the best of the best for sure. Next one on the list here. Next one on the list for conspiracy theories that are no longer conspiracy. COINTELPRO. COINTELPRO. COINTLPRO. Do you know what that is? I had heard of it, didn't know it had a name. But the original theory was the FBI was secretly surveilling, infiltrating, and disrupting civil rights groups, anti-war activists, and other political organizations. Jamie, off to work. Have a great day, bud. I appreciate you. We'll be out this weekend. We'll see you. I'll make a package drop box for our little terrorists to keep them out of. This doesn't sound like anything the government would ever do. The FBI would never plant. Hey, those dogs love Corey so much. Literally, she walks out the door and they start whining and begging for her to come back. I could leave for like a week. They wouldn't make a peep. They don't give a shit about me. She walks out the door and she's literally, you guys saw her open the door back there and walk out. They're already whining and begging for her to come back. You guys, I don't know if you can hear that. The noise cancellation is probably taking it out, but he's so sad. Mom walked out the door. COINTELPRO doesn't sound like anything the government would actually ever do. Infiltrating and secretly surveilling, disrupting, working against civil rights. I mean, you would think our government was all about bringing people together in a cohesive nature in the nation. One nation under God. One nation under God. We are here. Why would the government want us to be at odds? Why would they infiltrate the civil rights movement and make things so that people are still racist and divided? I don't understand. Divided we fall. United we stand. Divided we fall. Interesting. The reality was the FBI COINTELPRO counterintelligence program was real. It targeted civil rights leaders like Martin Luther King Jr., as well as groups like the Black Panthers, anti-Vietnam War activists, and feminist organizations from 1956 to 1971. Outcome: COINTELPRO was exposed in 1971, showing how the government had engaged in illegal tactics to sabotage social and political movements. Huh. Imagine that. Let me go down here. How about this one? Operation Mockingbird. Ever heard of that one, guys? There was a theory floating around for a long time that the CIA was secretly influencing media organizations to spread propaganda in the U.S. and abroad. The reality, Operation Mockingbird was a covert CIA program that began in the 1950s and is ongoing today, maybe, aimed at using journalists to gather intelligence and spread propaganda. Would we ever do that? Would our government ever spread propaganda through the media? Prominent journalists and media outlets were involved, sometimes unwittingly. Outcome, the program was exposed in the 1970s during the Church Committee hearings, which revealed the extent of the CIA's influence on American and international media. Do you see that it says it was never concluded? The names may change, the techniques stayed the same. Did you know about the Manhattan Project was once a conspiracy theory? If you've seen the movie Oppenheimer, they hid that, but there were buzzings and a lot of shit going on in that time. And Manhattan Project was a crazy conspiracy theory that turned out to be very true. Pip's wondering why Democrats would give tax money to social media influencers to promote their current candidate. I'm open for the highest bidder. I have a price. I will throw my hat in the ring to jump on board behind a candidate for the right price. Email me at info@TheLOTSProject.com. I'll send you a Bitcoin address and we'll get it done. Mike Somstead says that Operation Mockingbird can't be true because Biden installed a misinformation czar. How about Operation Paperclip? You see all the fun memes going around, getting people to actually dig in and learn about these things. Operation Paperclip. The original theory was the U.S. government secretly brought Nazi scientists to America after World War II to work on military projects. Why would this be a conspiracy theory? Are we just to a point in our existence that we're like, we distrust everything so much? I would be like, prisoners of war are a great source of information. If we took down somebody that was working on a huge weapon, why not bring them here and have them work for us? Why is that so crazy? Canadian Farm says and NASA. Oh, they didn't put that NASA thing on here as being a cover for intercontinental ballistic missiles because it's still going on. If you want to look into that. Hunter says every time I hear about Operation Paperclip, I think of Clippy on with the eyebrows on Windows. Yeah. Hunter says we brought Nazis. Eyebrow raise. The reality, this is true. Operation Paperclip was a covert program where over 1,600 German scientists, engineers, and technicians were brought to the U.S. after World War II to work with American military projects, including rocket technology and weapons development. Many of these individuals had been involved in Nazi war crimes. Unpopular opinion, there's nothing wrong with this. At the state of the world at that point, with the fact that there were imminent conflicts because that's just what it was going on, it violates every principle of the NAP. It violates all my everything I believe in as far as aggression and things like that. But if I was the government, and if I was in charge of the government, God help us, and we conquered someone, we beat someone, someone gave up, submitted to our will, why not gather their assets? Isn't that what you do when you conquer someone? You take their assets. Not necessarily, it doesn't necessarily have to be just money or gold or treasures or art or whatever. Why wouldn't you take their information also? Why wouldn't you take the benefits of defeating someone? Is that wrong? Like if I beat you in a game of Monopoly, you're sure as shit I'm gonna take your boardwalk and your park place. I don't understand why people would be upset. I mean, I guess they committed war crimes, but so did the people that saved them or took them or brought them here or whatever. Another one on the list: CIA and drug trafficking. This is funny. These are all ongoing. They are presenting them as if when they were exposed they stopped, but Obama was doing this. Fast and Furious. Anybody ever heard of Fast and Furious? They sold guns and then they lost track, and then they came back and shot a border agent with them. Weird. So they're running drugs and guns and all sorts of shit. Original theory: the CIA was involved in drug trafficking to fund covert operations in Latin America during the 1980s. The reality: investigations into the 1990s uncovered evidence suggesting that the CIA was aware of and possibly complicit in drug trafficking operations conducted by Contra rebels in Nicaragua. These funds were used to support the Contras, despite the U.S. government public stance against drug trafficking. Well, isn't that nice? The U.S. government had a stance that we shouldn't be trafficking drugs. Whatever. Outcome: the revelation led to the major public outcry. Although the CIA denied direct involvement, journalist Gary Webb's series Dark Alliance brought to the public's attention, but he faced immense backlash. Decades later, his work was largely vindicated. I mean, you could tell me right now that the government is running drugs, running guns, running humans, doing all the things that they have a war against, and I would completely believe you. Hunter says, good for them for not taking my tax revenue. Well, right. I mean, alternative sources of income are great. Basically, the U.S. was probably just acting like a business entrepreneur's mentor. They're just helping them get a start. But over and over and over again, the government gets caught in this bullshit. I just mentioned Fast and Furious. What was that? So Obama, he was in the 2000s. RD says, am I a software developer? I am not a software developer. I am not. I'm a raving lunatic that lives in a camper and is about ready to move into the woods. Bayer. Oh, here's the HIV one. Speaking of Magic Johnson, Bayer and HIV infected blood. The original theory was the pharmaceutical company Bayer knowingly sold HIV contaminated blood products to hemophiliacs in the 1980s. That's good. Not only do they have hemophilia, now we're going to give them HIV. The reality bears Cutter Biological Division sold Factor 8. Factor 8 is a blood clotting product for hemophiliacs that was contaminated with HIV in the early 1980s. They probably figured they were going to die anyway. So, I mean, what's another disease? While the company knew about the contamination, they continued to sell the product in overseas markets to avoid financial losses. Thousands of people were infected with HIV, and this led to massive lawsuits. Bayer eventually stopped selling the contaminated products, but it took years for the full extent of the scandal was exposed. RD was wondering my thoughts on the rise in Chinese and Indian immigrants in the U.S. Man, I don't know. Woman, I don't know. Do I have an opinion? I don't. I just mind my own fucking business and sit in the woods. If I had Chinese or Indian neighbors move in next to me, I'd probably go introduce myself and figure out how to coexist with them. So it is what it is. Mike Holmes says that the war is not against those items; it's against their competitors in those businesses. Correct. The war on drugs, the war on crime, the war on poverty. I can't believe that the CIA dentists don't have to wear gloves in Germany. Interesting. Hunter says the Red Cross makes money on blood that you donate. That's one of my favorites. Anybody that can turn donations into money. If they were upfront about it, bravo. But the fact that they plead and beg for you to donate to them and turn around and double down, that's kind of fucked up. Pip says rumor has it that Dodge Chrysler Jeep is going to be sold to the Chinese. Interesting. I don't know how they could make them any worse. Maybe selling them to the Chinese. All right, guys, we're gonna wrap it up here. I gotta get out. I gotta get out of here. I lost my place on my list. Oh, here, one last one before we take off. Original theory about the Bohemian Grove. Powerful men from around the world gather annually in secret meetings at Bohemian Grove to perform strange rituals and discuss world affairs. This was a conspiracy theory, but the Bohemian Grove is a real private campground in California where elite politicians, business leaders, and media moguls gather for an annual retreat and have Diddy parties. I have to believe they're having Diddy parties at the Bohemian Grove. While many of the claims about bizarre rituals are exaggerated, so they say, if it's private, how do they know? The secrecy and exclusivity of the meetings have fueled speculation about the influence wielded by attendees. The outcome Bohemian Grove activities are still ongoing, as are all these other fucking programs that they said they shut down. And while there is no confirmed evidence of nefarious actions, the idea of global elites meeting privately continues to provoke conspiracy theories about their true purpose. Diddy parties in the woods. Who's bringing the baby oil? RD says you're a good person. You don't know me. Don't accuse me of shit. Take the rides, take it off. Have a great day, everybody. I'm getting out of here also. I hope everybody has a great weekend. You can scroll down to the video description, find those Western Rise pants, a link to there and a discount. Also, like I mentioned earlier, foodforestfarms.com for the best coffee you'll ever drink. Discount code LOTS10, LOTS10 for 10% off and get that free shipping. Tell them Brian sent you. Well, you'll know. He'll know because LOTS10 is used. He'll take care of you. He'll take care of you for sure. Hope everybody has a fantastic day. Hope everybody has a great weekend. Get a bunch of shit done. If you're not in the Telegram group, head on over to t.me/LOTS chat Hey, good morning, Mum Life. It looks like you want a subscription, a membership. Thanks for stopping in. Appreciate you. Yeah, check out the Telegram group at t.me/LotsChat. T.me/LotsChat. John Palmer says, good day. Good day to you, sir. Everybody, thanks for stopping in. Have a fantastic weekend. I hope you get everything done that you want to. You achieve all your goals, and we'll circle back and meet up with you again on Monday.